right? Another thing that I want to speak about today is wedding season is coming up. As the weather gets better, we're going into summer, wedding season. People tend to have their weddings during this time. So nearly every weekend is now going to be filled with a wedding. Now, the thing about weddings is, just very briefly, the Prophet ﷺ gave some guidance that try to make weddings simple so that they can happen more easily. The more rituals you add to your weddings, the more cultural implications you have, and the more conditions you put, and the more things that you have to follow, and the styles and traditions and trends that you feel obliged to follow, that is how much more difficult you will make it. People will just cringe at it, right? Because they just find it so difficult. We need to take away these barriers and make it simple. Look, we have no problem if you've got money. You've got sufficient money, and you've got sufficient energy, and you've got sufficient resources and supporters and helpers, and you want to give a good feast, with some really good meal and so on, go ahead and do it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, because when you're hosting someone, these are going to be your guests. When you're hosting someone, you can give the best of food, and there can't be any sin in that, unless you go over the top. So just purely for the sake of feeding someone, if you want to go all out, there is nothing wrong with that. Where it is wrong is what many people are doing. Because somebody else did something, I have to do it as well. Otherwise, I will look like a fool. I will look cheap. I will look miserly. I will look stingy. I won't go up to the standard. That is where the problems come in. So now, even if you've got the money, right, and you've got the power, and you've got everything to do this, right, to put it through, but you're doing it because somebody else did it, and you don't want to look lower than them, then you're not going to get any reward for that. So just realize that. So you've got all of these weird trends that people are doing, that you must feed everybody, the whole family, 5 days, from 5 days in advance before the wedding. The wedding is on Saturday, but from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, everybody has to eat at your house. You can't even handle it. I've seen cases where they've done this, but by Thursday, the host, she was literally just saying, like, get out of here right now, right? Like, what's wrong with you guys? Get out of here. Give us some peace. But she's the one who put it on herself by inviting everybody and insisting on it every day, different kind of food and things like that. There's just a lot of this cultural aspect. As people get more money, as in Urdu they would say, this is like paise ki masti, right? Which means the mischief of money, right? Money mischief, because you got money, so you can do this. If you don't have the money, where are you going to do this from, right? When you either got money or you got the ability to get a loan, which is really a problematic thing. Now, if you want to feed in your wedding something really good, your daughter's wedding, your son's wedding, something really good, absolutely, right? Same with wedding dresses. People are going crazy for a dress for one day, right? And I really cannot see the benefit of that. They're going crazy. Look, okay, if you generally spend £50 on a dress, or £30 or £20 on a dress, and now you double that for a wedding, let's just say £100, maybe £150, I can understand that. But when you go to £600-700 for a day, when people around the world are literally suffering, right? But we can do this because we got the money, because we're insulated from this problem. That is a sad case. That is a sad case. I don't mind if you buy a car which you're going to drive, which there's additional functions in there, there's facility in there. I can understand that. If you're getting a good washing machine at home that is going to be used every day, it's got good function, it doesn't wrinkle the clothes, it does it in this way, that way, you're getting a good cooker, whatever the case is, I can see benefit in there, because there's going to be lengthy benefit. The problem comes when for one day you're splashing out just so that you can say you got your dress from this place, or you got it from this and it's like this because somebody else wore this. There are so many wedding dresses that are every weekend and week out, they're just going to stay in a cupboard afterwards. They're never going to wear them again, right? Which woman gets the tawfiq to wear her wedding dress again, right? Subhanallah. It's really a sad case that we're following. I don't know which culture we're following here, or which shaitan we're following. Essentially, it's a big problem. It's a big issue, right? We need to really take it easy. I can understand getting something beautiful and nice and elegant, but not this huge amount of money, right? That is generally spent. And subhanallah, the worst thing that I've seen, for example, is the religious women, in order to emulate or copy and imitate the non-religious women, they go to get a wedding dress. Now, wedding dresses are generally very revealing, right? They're very revealing. That's the nature of the wedding dress, unfortunately. Whether you look in British culture, Western culture, or even Hindu culture generally, I don't know if there's a Muslim wedding dress company, right? But that might be a good idea for somebody to have a decent, moderate place. I mean, you know, I'm giving ideas here, right? But really, what I'm noticing is that a lot of these companies, they're Hindu, right? They're from India, they're Hindu based. It's all very revealing. So what you got is, you got the, you know, the so-called the women who, mashallah, are following the deen, and they're trying to cover up and everything. They want to buy a wedding dress, so they have to start with one of these that are very revealing, and then they have to add things to it. So then they get it tailored to, adjusted with a sleeve here, or longer sleeves, not half a sleeve, you know, and make sure that the neck is not showing too much, or, you know, this, that, and the other. And literally they're paying extra, right? So they're going into £1,000, £2,000 sometimes for a modified dress that wasn't even originally designed for that product, and it's just really silly, right? It's just really silly, right? So what I'm saying is, I'm not against a good wedding dress, but it should not be israf and tabdhir, which means to squander your wealth, to waste your wealth just extravagantly for the sake of just show, right? That is what the problem comes in. That is what the problem comes in. There are many other options, right? There are many other options of, you know, decent Muslim kind of garments that you can get that are not so expensive, that can be used for wedding dress. Just that obviously you need somebody to do this. So I'm giving ideas that it could be somebody who, you know, is doing a decent Muslim wedding dress that is concealing as well, so you don't have to, you know, spend so much money doing these kind of things. It's just kind of ridiculous. But these are just some of the examples. These are just some of the examples. Other examples, I mean, you know about weddings. Essentially what I'm saying is, keep it simple, keep it manageable, right? And the main thing above all, everything, is intention. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you're just so happy? You're doing it for the sake of that, for the sake that it's a good day for you, for your daughter, your son is getting married, that's why you're doing it. Allah will give you a reward for doing it well like that. But if you're not doing it for that reason, you're doing it because there's an element of show, and if you're doing anything haram in it, right, where you're making it free mixing. Now the problem with weddings and free mixing is really problematic, right? The reason is that, okay, you've got sometimes you've got Islamic talk sometimes where you've got men and women sitting separately, right? But generally in a Muslim talk, what you'll have, because not every place that has a talk, a bayan, a lecture, a seminar, right, you will have a divider, for example, in between. But the thing there, at least, and I'm not justifying, I'm just saying that at least what you will have is that you will have everybody covered up, because they're coming to a talk, they're coming to an Islamic function. Problem with weddings is that although it's a Muslim wedding function, people want to let down their hair. Especially the women, they want to let down their hair. If you're not giving them a place to do that, and they're going to be seen by men, you get the sin for that, and people don't realize that. Because you can't expect all women to be covered up in a wedding. Right? They come into a wedding, they want to let down there, so give them the place to do that, and don't give the men the place to see them. Whether they're doing it accidentally or purposely, it doesn't make a difference. That is what you need to take into consideration, right? So organize it well in a place which is, fully segregated, so the women get their privacy, they can be among other women and do that. We've got major problems in our weddings. Some weddings, they will be segregated, right? So they seem segregated, but you've got all these weird men that keep coming in for some reason. Right, they keep popping in either to talk to their wife or to talk to someone. Some of the people who are in charge. It's just ridiculous. Then you've got these women who have to cover up, who have to suddenly put something over their head or over their face or whatever the case is. It's just really bothersome. Have strict segregation. Make sure that if you are doing it segregated, then do it properly. Right? You've got all of these weird things. Then there's this thing about, at the end where there's a stage. So it's segregated in the beginning, but then the man will come into the women's section, go onto the stage and sit there like an idiot. Right? That's just really weird. In front of all the women, he'll sit there, and all these women who are not even his mahrams, right, who are not even closely related to him, he could marry them essentially. They will come and feed him because they're the friends of the bride or whatever the case is. It's just ridiculous. Right? It's haram. It's not right. If you want to do a little function like that where everybody, then go to another place, right, or wait for all the guests to go where it's just strictly close family members, and you can do that. I've seen some ulama who've done it like that. Right, because the family want to get together, they want to come together, and sometimes they might want to take some photos or whatever the case is. If that is what you want, right, because you have to be really careful of photos as well. You have to be really careful of photos because you've got these guys going around taking photos, or these women going around taking photos, and there are many women and some men who don't want to be photoed, and you can't take somebody's photo, right, without their permission. Remember that, because if you're taking somebody's photo, it's their privacy. It's haram to take somebody's photo without their permission. Right, unless there's kind of an approval, and you have to realize that it's not permissible. So if you're in your daughter or son's wedding, you're causing that to happen, or in your own wedding, you're allowing that to happen, it's a problem. Right? People don't want to be compromised like that. So if you want to have a special stage and whatever, do it after everybody's go. Don't do it to show everybody, where everybody's forced to watch this kind of stuff that's going on. So there's a halal way of doing everything. No, you can have a bit of fun, but have it in a halal way. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq. May Allah make it easy for us. May Allah give us the right intention in this, and may Allah reward it and bring barakah in our weddings. Because seriously, when you don't do it properly, the barakah is lost. And wedding is probably the one place where you need more barakah than any other place, because it's two individuals coming together who sometimes don't even have absolutely no idea of each other. To make that work, to make the hearts come together, only Allah can do that. And the more you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that regard, the more the hearts will come together. And I can tell you that, from many of the experiences that I've seen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq.